Now that I have finally bought a Shelby GT350R, let's talk about some of the initial ownership costs, including obviously the purchase price and some of the other things that I've already spent money on for this vehicle. Now, this is a 2018 GT350R with an MSRP back when new of right around $70,000, just under 70 grand. And that's typical of an R of this year with the carbon fiber wheels, the electronics pack, so I get AC, the Sync touchscreen system, over-the-top racing stripes, and lead foot gray paint. Now, that's MSRP. When the Shelbys first started coming out, a lot of dealers were asking markup, and that was one of the principal reasons I didn't buy one years ago, because I didn't really want to pay $10,000 to $20,000 over sticker price. But speaking about sticker price, it was just under 70 grand. I bought it with 4,300 miles now in 2020, and the purchase price was $57,000. So that's a reasonable amount of depreciation over 2 years, only 4,300 miles, so not super high miles there. Now, the Rs are the most rare of the GT350s. They build, I think, approximately 10 to 20% as many as the regular GT350, also costs a good amount more than the base GT350. So theoretically, this would hold value better than a regular one, even though it started at a higher price. Now that, I mean, that's about $13,000 of depreciation, which I was able to avoid by buying it used. So 57 grand purchase price. Now, when you buy a car, you immediately have to pay sales tax, and that was here. Spent a couple hours at the DMV yesterday getting that taken care of. And here's something that I found out that was really awesome. Now, Chicago and Illinois has decently high living costs. There's a lot of taxes and fees and stuff, but here is one nice benefit. Sales tax in my county, I think, is 7%. But if you purchase private party, vehicle price above 30 grand, they cap sales tax at $1,500. So this car, even though it was almost $60,000 purchase price, my sales tax is only $1,500. Unlike my RS7, R8, those were all like $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 in sales tax because they're purchased through a dealership. Private party, it's a very nice perk. They give you a little bit of a break, no trade-in tax or any of that other stuff. But either way, $1,500 of sales tax. So just buying the car right there, 57 grand plus 1,500 puts me at 58.5. Registration and plates, finally got it registered. License plate on the vehicle, that was $301. Plus registering my truck too, and sales tax from that too and everything. So it was a moderately expensive trip to the DMV, but the cars are plated and registered. Now, because I bought this car out of state and I got it inspected, so I did a pre-purchase inspection, which was negotiated into the purchase price of the car, so the seller covered that, but I still flew down to Tampa, Florida to buy the car and drive it home. I didn't really want to buy a car sight unseen, even with an inspection. So with the flight, the fuel on driving all the way back, it was a 1,200-mile trip, went straight back, did not stop at any hotels or anything, and then food along the route for myself and my co-pilot, Colin. I spent just under $660 on travel costs to buy the actual car. Now, if you're buying in-state or much more local, that probably isn't a thing. I just spent almost $400 on a one-way ticket because some reason Chicago to Tampa flights were really expensive at the moment. So there was that. Oil change number one. So as soon as I got the car back, I decided to do an oil change at just over 5,500 miles right now. So essentially a 5,000 mile interval oil change. Went to the dealership because it is still under powertrain warranty and has an extended warranty. And I wanted to have Ford registered that I went to a Ford dealer for the oil change. Full 10 quarts of synthetic Motorcraft 5W50. The new oil filter itself was only $115 oil change. I actually was pleasantly surprised, given the fact that it's 10 quarts of oil for a GT350, and I was guessing around $10 to $12 per quart. Just parts alone I thought would be more than that. Regardless, $115 was the cost of my oil change. Did that yesterday. Also transferred the extended warranty. This has a 36,000 miles, 72-month extended warranty through Ford Protect. Transfer that over to my name. That was a $75 fee. Did that with a finance manager at the dealership. So up to this point, I have spent $59,651 getting this car, which in the scheme of things is actually not too terrible compared to the fact that brand new 2020 GT350Rs have gone up in price. I'm pretty sure the base MSRP and all the options, once you add them up there, it's like a good 5 to 10 grand over. I haven't configured one recently, but a lot more. And then a GT500 obviously is way more money. You can put those over $100,000 without a problem. And I also know many people who bought these when they had first come out in 2016, 2017, and some of them paid 15 grand over sticker, which I just didn't want to do, end up buying an R8 instead. But we finally came back to the GT350R. Now, I have some other costs already planned. Because this is on carbon fiber wheels and Cup 2 tires, I am planning on changing out tires and wheels for regular driving on the road, daily driving type of stuff. I got a lot of comments already of people, why are you taking the carbon fiber wheels off? That's half the specialness of the 350R. Well, Carbon fiber wheels are $4,000 a piece, so that's 16 grand a set. And I don't want to, I live in the Chicago area, it's the Midwest. Our roads, I've said this before, approximate the surface of the moon. They are horrible. And I don't want to crack a wheel on a pothole or curb it or whatever happens. I'm going to save those for track duty. Same thing with Cup 2 tires. Cup 2s tram line pretty hard, especially when the 305s up front, really wide. And also if the weather even thinks about raining, you're going to start hydroplaning. So I'm going to run PS4S tires eventually. When I buy those are going to be just around $1,500 for a set. Another special side detail, just because I thought about it, 305 30 R19s for the fronts. They don't make PS4S and 315 30 R19, which is the OEM rear tire size. So I'm going slightly wider to a 325 with the PS4S. So it's actually a little bit wider of a tire. It already pokes out pretty aggressively, but I think we're going to dial that in with the new wheels. So I'm not just going to put new tires on the same wheels and have the same issue. So I'm buying some signature forged wheels, which I'm really excited. It's going to be really awesome. I'm looking forward to those a lot. Working with the guys at Signature, Terrence, he's taking care of that. So those new wheels have a retail price of $5,400. Also getting some titanium lug nuts because the way the lug nut design fits out on this car, the way the lugs are, you got to run some of those different ones there, and the titanium is lightweight. Either way, getting those bundled in with the wheel. So those are some upcoming costs I have. So in terms of that, outside of the initial ownership costs that are absolutely required, you don't have to put wheels and tires in your car. You can just run the OEMs if you want. Not that Cup 2s last that long, so you'll probably end up having to buy new tires anyways. But regardless, just under $60,000. A lot of people are asking that, how much did I spend? I was really debating buying a regular GT350, a non-R, 2017, 2018s, with under 10,000 miles, maybe 5,000 to 7,000 miles. I saw a couple for that $45,000 range. So essentially, I calculated out it was an extra about $10,000 to $12,000 to get an R model. Why did I do this? Well, I guess I like having the top tier rarest model. It's just something personally I enjoy having, knowing I got the best of OEM engineering that they could offer at the time. I like having the more rare vehicle. Regardless, I do plan on tracking this car, so I think it'll be fun to do that too. It's got slightly different ESC calibration, different suspension tuning, I believe. Obviously, the carbon fiber wheels are lighter and the bigger aerodynamic pack, no rear seats. So ended up buying an R, spent a little bit more. 2019, they went to a refresh for both the 350, 350R. Like the 350, you can get Cup 2 standard, new aerodynamics, a handling pack, all sorts of things. The R stayed a little closer to it. There's a heritage model for the new one. I really liked the color scheme on that, but decided to go with an 18 and avoid some of the depreciation. Will this still depreciate? Absolutely. I plan on putting many enjoyable miles on the car and not really worry about that as much, but it will lose value as I go on. That is some of the cost of buying the car. So in terms of initial ownership costs, that's everything. I've covered it from buying the car to getting it registered, the nice sales tax number of $1,500, which I was very happy about. I joked that at that point, there's no need to register a car in Montana anymore. I can do everything without any sort of loopholes or whatever. Not that I've ever even considered that. All of my cars I registered in Michigan and ate that fee every year. And I'm actually a little bit happy. The plate costs are slightly lower back in Michigan. They base it off of MSRP. So I think the RS7 was like $600 a year to register. The R8 was like, I don't know, $750 or something silly. It got really tiring to just plate the car at that cost. Anyways, I digress. Other things that I might want to do. There's an exhaust valve controller I'm thinking about getting. This car has clear tints on it, but I want it slightly darker, so I might get it ceramic tinted on the side. Ceramic coating. The wheels will definitely get ceramic coated. Maybe ceramic coat the whole car. I'm debating changing the stripes to white stripes. If not, I'd probably ceramic coat the entire car because it does make it easier to clean, keeps the dirt and dust off, makes it a bit easier. And then I've got this big list here of other things I'm thinking about doing, but none of those are quite urgent, and none of those technically are initial ownership costs, so I won't talk too much about that immediately. So there we go. Those are the initial ownership costs so far of buying this car. I like sharing this type of stuff with you. The RS7 ownership cost video did pretty well. Just being fully transparent. This is how much I've had to spend on purchasing this car. And this is, I don't want to say attainable because it still is quite an expensive $60,000 vehicle. But if you compare it to other sports cars in this segment, you're talking C7 Corvettes, you can talk Camaro ZL1, ZL1 1LE, or some of the Germans. You can get BMW M4s, Audi RS5 maybe, or C63 AMG. It is going to be a little more track focused outside of the ZL1 1LE or maybe a Z06 Corvette. It doesn't have some of the luxury features of the German cars, the AMGs or the BMW M's, but I think it's one of the most special cars you can buy for the money. The flat plane crank Voodoo 5.2 V8 that revs to over 8,000 RPM sounds amazing. My friend Andrew, who also has a C7 RS7, started it up last night. He goes, holy crap, that's stock? He was very surprised at how loud it was, and I love the way it sounds. The character of the engine changes as you get above 4,000 RPM, and now that I've done the full oil change, full synthetic oil change on the car, it's got registration and everything. I finally have a license plate on it. I've been driving it, and yes, I am remembering again how much I love this car, why I bought it, falling in love with it. Oh, here's another sidebar. The real license plate, because I bought it private party, there was no license plate. In Florida, Illinois, the license plate doesn't follow the car. I think in California and other countries around the globe, license plates stay with the car unless you want to change it up. So I drove back from Florida with no license plate on the car whatsoever. Talked to a couple friends who work at dealership. I'm like, hey, what is the rule here? What exactly am I supposed to do? And having a bill of sale, the title signed off to me, and it was insured, obviously. That was all I had, the paperwork, and my friend said, just drive it back. I believe, I looked it up before when I lived in Michigan, but Michigan says as long as you are driving back in within like a 24 to 48 hour window or something in that range, you are allowed to drive without a plate on the car to get your car home if you buy it out of state private. Now, if I bought it from a dealer, they'd obviously give you a little paper temp tag if they have reciprocity with the other state or whatever, how that works out. But I drove it back without a license plate on the car, but it had that paperwork. So if I were to be stopped by an officer or something and they asked me what's going on, why is there no plate on the car, did you steal it? I'd be like, no, look, here's the title. Literally just bought it 8 hours ago and I'm driving home back to where I live. So I did do that. Outside of that, I will continue to document the car. I got to film some nice cinematic B-roll. We'll get some point of view driving, some exhaust sounds for sure, maybe some comparisons, track videos, and then showing you some of the changes I plan on making, mods, new wheels, and some other things I want to play around with. Future ownership costs, I'll definitely share that. So if you're thinking about buying these, you know how much the budget. For example, I'm absolutely going to be doing 5,000 mile oil change intervals. At the price, the dealer at $115, even up to $200, I'll probably still go to the dealer so I have that trail in their computer system that this car came in. So if something went wrong with the motor or whatever, they can't say you didn't properly maintain your car, we're not going to warranty your Voodoo motor. This way I can say, look, all of it has been taken care of properly. 5,000 mile oil change intervals. I might do a couple things in terms of protection like the oil separators and some other random stuff going on there. So there we go, the initial cost of my 2018 GT350R. I know I rambled a little bit in this video, went on a couple tangents. It was a long day at work, but with a new car, I'm definitely excited to have it. I'm gonna be buying a couple other things soon. I know OEM Shelby 350R car cover from a local guy who just sold his in case I park it in the garage for a couple days, keep it nice and clean. The regular 350 car cover on Mustang one doesn't work because you have the big wing out back. But that's it. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram at EddieX616. I did make a separate Instagram account for this car. I'm not quite sure if I want to maintain both of them, but it's at Leadfoot350R because it is a Leadfoot gray 350R. And with that, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.